Hello there. I'm sure everyone can probably agree that it's been a difficult time for War of the Visions and the community as of late. Most things that could have gone wrong have gone wrong. Let's start at the top. We are all aware of the Offerwall exploit, or Vizigate as many call it, and it took what felt like an eternity for the developers to take action. But they finally managed to retrieve all the illegitimate Visior from the affected accounts. They say that they're going to do something about the Visior that said players already spent, but we'll have to wait and see if that goes anywhere. There was a substantial amount of outrage regarding this whole situation from all corners of the player base. Whales threatened to quit spending on the game, while free-to-play players threatened to no longer play at all. The morale of the player base was at an all-time low. In the update after this whole situation began, we were about to be introduced to the next generation of Crystal Warriors, starting with Perrine. And in what appeared to be absurdly comical timing, the developers nerfed the summon banner for her by removing the pity bar. Now, I do understand that this was probably not an intentional move by Gumi to further aggravate players, as this nerf was probably planned well ahead of time, but the timing just couldn't have been worse. So the players have been getting the short end of the stick, we can see that. If you checked out the disappointment shop this week, you could also find these ridiculously funny deals in which you could get +3 versions of easily farmable equipment for a nice chunk of paid Visior. Many in the community see these changes as backlash from the developers because of the Offerwall exploit, except it was aimed at everyone. Again, more reason for people to feel aggrieved. If you've been on the official subreddit for the game in recent times, then you must have seen a bit of how the community feels these days. How there's a massive amount of negativity everywhere. But if you were to dig deeper, through all the tension and disgust regarding these recent problems, you might, every now and then, notice that there are quite a few people who aren't just pissed about these recent problems. Instead, they see these issues as just another few more in a long line of problems. Most players just feel exhausted because there seem to be new bugs or issues or nerfs around every corner. Whether it's the never-ending barrage of cost 100 units or a combination of those and limited time units and collaborations designed to generate stress or the fear of missing out, many of these players simply want to know one little thing. When exactly do they get to have fun? So let's talk about that a bit today. I'll start. As a player, there's one thing that annoys me the most about this game, and that is the complete lack of creativity when it comes to content design. Let's take a look at the events that are going on right now, the guild raids and the guild revival. You can market them as whatever you want, but at the end of the day, all you do is let your phone auto-farm them as efficiently as possible. These powerful bosses are just punching bags masquerading as powerful bosses. Imagine, if you will, if a friend of mine was interested in trying out the game. They might be interested in some of the Final Fantasy characters. Well, too bad for them, they aren't even available at the moment. And who knows when they will be available at all. And these awesome events? Oh, you're supposed to let your phone auto-farm them while you go and do something actually fun or interesting. That doesn't sound like a great time to me if I am that friend. And I am doubtful that they would be dying to learn about the ins and outs of trust stones after seeing all that. But I'm sure some of you are saying right now that hey, there is hard and endgame content for that which you have to do manually, like the Nightmare Quest missions or the Porcelain Tower. Well, yeah, about that. The only thing that sets most of these particular missions apart from, say, any other mission is that all the enemies have their stats massively boosted. That isn't interesting content. That is bashing your head against the wall or cheesing the enemies through elemental or weapon type advantages. That's it, really. The Porcelain Tower was really interesting initially, but as the game went on and players acquired newer and more powerful units, the developers apparently ran out of ideas on how to make things challenging and resorted to just giving everything inflated stats. Imagine if someone made a mod of Pokemon Red. In this mod, all the trainers have Pokemon that are at level 100 and have all stats maxed out. That's it, everything else is the same. So Brock's Geodude will still use Tackle, but it'll just hit really hard now. Sure, you can say that it's really difficult compared to the base game, but is it really interesting or engaging or, dare I say, fun? That's just a dull attempt at keeping players busy. And honestly, that kinda defines the vast majority of the content design in this game at the moment, doesn't it? Keep players busy without putting in too much thought or effort. Now, I don't mind the prospect of farming or grinding, and I'm sure there are many people out there who enjoy that. But we really need more. I want to talk about a boss battle from Final Fantasy X. There might be spoilers up ahead, so those of you who haven't played the game, you've been warned. There is a particular boss battle that happens near the end of the game, against Lady Yunalesca. It's a really interesting fight because Yunalesca has an attack that inflicts a zombie effect on your party members. It's a negative effect, and Yunalesca has attacks that hurt characters who are zombies, so you would want to remove it immediately, right? Now, keep in mind that she has a couple of different forms, so you have to beat her multiple times in the same battle. But once she reaches her final form, she will start using an attack called Megadeth, which will instantly kill all party members except the ones who have the zombie status. So you cannot cure everyone of the zombie status, otherwise she'll just insta-kill you. So it makes you think while the battle goes on how you want to manage that. But still, it's not necessarily a very hard fight. You could cheese it pretty easily if you wanted to. But it presents more of an interesting challenge than lots of bodies or big numbers or maximum stats, right? And Final Fantasy X had a bunch of other fights that were also unique in how they worked. It's almost like the developers of that game actually put some thought into their boss fights. But fear not, Yunalesca has already showed up in War of the Visions. So how did they translate her epic battle from FF10 into this game? Well, it's another pushover, powerful boss, pretty much like every other one, and you just bash its face in as it sits there. But okay, how about an example from a game whose gameplay fits in the same genre as War of the Visions? Again, spoilers for Devil Survivor Overclocked if you haven't played that game. In Devil Survivor Overclocked, the fight against Metatron requires you to work on your positioning as well as balance your attention between focusing on the boss and the enemies surrounding you. The terrain also plays a role as lingering on the water hurts your party. But if you stay next to Metatron too long, he might just nuke the entire area around him, and if you're in that place, well, you're pretty much dead. Again, to me, it's more interesting than whatever the logic behind the Porcelain Tower is these days. That's the game mode I just actively avoid now. You see, the developers are aware that they need to make changes. The player base is dwindling down as it is, and new players are hard to come by. But in a recent decision that annoyed many, including me, instead of working on making the game more fun, they instead decided to collaborate with some TikTok homeless man to try and entice new players. I find it difficult to find considerable overlap between fans of strategic and tactical JRPGs with lots of depth and fans of, well, this.
Rated N for nobody.
But I suppose there is one thing that fans of the homeless man might like about War of the Visions. I'm sure they could play this game just like how they enjoy watching Addison Rae on TikTok. With one hand.
Oh, yes.
But seriously, we can't deny that this homeless TikTok man has done their part in this collaboration. I'm sure this post got people really excited to try War of the Visions. Maybe it's time to stop trying to entice new players through silly gimmicks and actually take time to work on improving the game. Once all these bugs and exploits and scandals are behind us, I feel like it's necessary for the game to move into a better direction. The old saying might be, manners make it the man, but in this case, the saying should be, the community make it the game. And Gumi really needs to start respecting their community, cause there are some really wonderful people here. People who manage websites for free that are really important resources for all players. People who are happy to help newcomers and people who help create an enjoyable environment for everyone. Just adding more power creep or busy work like the level 140 dream enhancement or more farming isn't going to make things more fun or attract new people. There's a whole lot you can do, trust me, but let's take it one step at a time, shall we? At least take that first step, Gumi. Instead of giving them nerfs all the time, give the player something to feel excited and optimistic about. More people might be interested in spending a few bucks if they enjoy the game. Stop trying to screw with the players with these, well, amazing deals. I am sorry that the video turned out to be a bit of a downer. It makes me really sad to see people talking about quitting the game or just hating the game these days. But I just wanted to talk about a few things before it's too late. Alchemist Code, the conceptual father of War of the Visions, announced the end of service for its global server not too long ago. I took a little look into their community, and what I found to be a bit harrowing was how they had complaints about the game which were quite similar to what we have. I want War of the Visions to stick around for a really long time, and to be more successful. It has such untapped potential. All that is needed is to utilize it. If there's stuff that you've been wanting to see in this game, or things that you would like to see change, well, let me know in the comments. So I hope you still enjoyed the video. And I am sorry about no jokes. See you next time.